It's Friday, and I'm so excited because it's another brand new episode of We Have the High Ground here on the Pop Culture Universe YouTube channel. I'm Colin, your host. Joining me as always, it's Boggs, my boy. How you doing, sir?
Yes, sir. What's good, YouTube? What's happening? Yes, all good. Another We Have the High Ground episode. Another beautiful Friday. We've got the lovely Soul as per usual, and we've got another guest as well, which we'll come to in a second. But how you doing, Bibliotecaria? Is that right?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Got it. I remember.
Boggs is remembering the Spanish I'm teaching him, so I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, the librarian is here, goes ready to talk some of these topics. I'm going to apologize. My band geekiness, nerdiness is going to get really in-depth for one of these topics that we're talking about, so I'm going to apologize beforehand.
Well, us band geeks always have to stick together, but someone coming on the show, literally, he's dripping in swag usually, but today he is dripping in arguably the hottest team in the NBA's attire, a team that's finally figuring it out, a team that finally went out, got some veterans to back up their young talent. It's Andres Ace Cabrera of Team Swag coming in, repping them Phoenix Suns. Sir, welcome to the show.
What's up? Yo, man, go Suns, bro. I swear, I'm a walking, Suns billboard, man. I swear.
You got to this year. I mean, it just seems like they finally figured it out, at least over the last week or so. It's really feel like the role players are starting to feel like, oh, this is why I was brought here. I'm here to really support these young guys. I actually went out and bought some DeAndre Ayton rookie cards because he's like, you can get rated rookie cards for like less than $50 for him, and he was the first pick in the draft with Luka and Trae Young. So, and their cards go for like thousands of dollars. You guys are a very underrated team.
No, I'm loving it, man. It's literally been 11 years since we've been in the playoffs, which is the second longest drought in the NBA. I've been a Suns fan, and I've been following each and every season, even the seasons where we just win 20 games. So this is a lot of fun to see. I'm loving the season.
Absolutely, and we are so glad that you are here joining us on We Have the High Ground. Since we have so many guests, we're going to drop the logo for the day. Because, folks, we're here to change it up. You know, we've been doing lists. We got a little addicted to our list. We got a little list happy. We're going top fives, top threes, all over the place. Everything from Rebels moments to cringe moments, everything you could think of. We're coming up on some hot stuff. We decided to switch it up. And we're going to keep the high ground aspect of the show because somebody always has to be right on this show. That's just something we've always proven. So we're going to break it up into 3 sections. And these 3 lovely people on the screen with me are going to be trying to win my heart. Tell me why they have the high ground on certain topics. And we've looked around the Star Wars universe, and we found 3 pretty good ones, I think. First, we're going to be getting into a little High Republicness. Second, we're going to get into a little John Williams, because, happy birthday to the GOAT. And then at the end, we know our boy Ace loves himself some Harrison Dula. We know how much the pilots of this world, they resonate with all of us. They should, because they're usually the cocky, the badassery. It all stems from them because they know they're the best. And I know all 3 of you have excellent choices. Boggs in particular, I know is going to bring some slapping hits. So without further ado, let's get into this new thing. But before we do, actually, let's get to know our guests a little more, because some of you do not know Ace. We know Ace. We've talked to Ace over on the Ultimate Schmoedown show, and if you know him from the Schmoedown, you know this man knows his Star Wars. But Ace, please tell us your Star Wars story.
Yeah, so obviously I grew up with the sequels in theaters, but I did see the original trilogy with the VHS re-release that came out, I believe like 96, 97 is when they came out, 97. And then I fell in love with the world, fell in love with the story, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, that whole thing. And then literally that was just to promote the upcoming sequels that were coming out. So obviously I was hyped for the sequels. I got to see my first ever midnight premiere, 1999, Phantom Menace. I was a little kid, got to see that in theaters. Greatest experience ever. It was insane. Everyone was just freaking out, and it was incredible. So that is kind of where I started. I started with the OG a little bit, and then the prequels were really my world and my entry. Obviously went back and watched the OG several times over. And then obviously now the sequels, man, the sequels and the Clone Wars and the animated shows and all that stuff that came in the middle between the 2000s was a lot of fun as well. Eventually getting to the sequel trilogy now, which I consider myself to be an expert in after so many times of watching the sequel trilogy. And I love the sequel trilogy now. I love it, man. I love the Star Wars universe. It's one of those universes that I feel like most fans need to pick one they hate. And I'm the one fan who's like, nah, I'm good. I love them all. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's always one, Ace. There's always one.
Yeah.
But quick question, man. So, if anyone doesn't know, this is the Pop Culture Universe channel is not specifically a Schmoedown channel. It's a reaction channel, that kind of thing. So not everyone might know you. But yeah, if anyone doesn't know, obviously Ace is a big voice in the Star Wars community. Particularly that, he's a trivia tournament winner. So, we're definitely privileged to have him on. But yeah, before we get started, I'm going to pass it to Sol. But would you have a favorite movie at all?
It's so tough because every time someone says favorite movie, I say,
too hard, right? Basically,
do I pick one that if I had to pick one that I can only have one, I would have to go A New Hope. Okay. That would probably be the one I would pick, right? Because to me, that's the most complete when it comes to like the first movie and stuff. As far as like the most rewatchable, like there's always so many layers to it. Yeah. I mean, Revenge of the Sith is up there too, though. I would say that.
Shout. Good shout. Yeah, go ahead, Sol.
I was just going to say that one thing I appreciate about Ace so much is that he has love for all of the movies. So no matter what side you stand on in a movie, you can always be like, oh, I can agree with Ace here. Like when he was shouting out for The Last Jedi, because I love that movie so much. I was just like, at least I got Ace in my corner.
Yeah. Love The Last Jedi.
Yeah, Boggs.
Yeah, so do I.
If you
Star
want to
Wars
do
minority here, sir.
If you want to do like I love the idea of like Last Jedi trivia or like Force Awakens trivia or just a single movie trivia. Every time I think about it, I'm just like, man, give me Last Jedi. That movie's like 3 hours long, and I know like every line.
We need to hit
knows the traffic violations that they get. That's Ace. That's one of the most impressive things I've ever seen was your face of like when most people would hear that question, even the most crazed Star Wars fanatics, you were just like, yep. There's a type of person in the Schmoedown where I'd like to see how fast they and this is the movie trivia show that Boggs and Sol and I do the after show for. They ask the question and then there's not even a second of hesitation. It's like your brain says the answer and then you write it. And that was one of them where I was like, no way you knew that off the cusp. And you're like, yeah, damn right I did know that off the cusp. Yeah. Like that was a fireful.
Yeah, it was fun, man. To be fair, like it was really cool to hear them say in The Last Jedi. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, I feel like I can get anything in that movie, but that's just me right now.
Take the thank out, and that's exactly what Boggs says every time he says it. Oh God!
yeah.
I struggle with it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely we ranked ours about probably 2 months ago.
I think we did it on Christmas Day, wasn't it?
Yes, actually, yeah, we did. It's pretty low on my list, I ain't gonna lie, but
but we had a civil conversation about it. I thought that was the best. Like, if you could take that conversation we had, because the idea of the old process was you would rank 5 things, and then if my number 5 was your number 1, Boggs would say,
"Have the high ground,"
and then we would move the conversation to the next part of the show, and Boggs said it at like number 10 or number 11, and I was like, oh, I have the high ground on that one, and it was in like my top 4 or 5. But we were able to talk about like, well, here's why I love it. I'm able to suppress the things I don't like about it.
Sure.
And then I'm able to, because I think George Lucas said it best. He was like, these movies, if you're not 12 years old, not every second of it's going to hit you. Like, sometimes you just got to accept that. And we have.
Yeah, that's my thing too about The Last Jedi. It's such a complex, long movie with 3 running storylines. Like there's 3 actual there's the Rey and Kylo and Luke. There's the Poe and Admiral Holdo, and then there's the Finn and Rose. So those are the three storylines that run at the same time, and they cut back and forth between the three. You could still just pick one storyline that you like out of those three and acknowledge it, and then kind of just ignore the rest if you want. Like, that's my thing too. That's what I told my friends, where they were like, oh, but the Finn and Rose. And I'm like, who cares? That's like 20 minutes in the movie.
Just press RB on the Xbox controller and move to the next scene, please.
Watch the Rey and Kylo stuff. That's incredible. And they're like, yeah, I do like that stuff. And I'm like, then pay attention to that. Because I think that's the fun stuff. So that's what's cool about the movie, is that there's a lot of storylines to it. So you can enjoy what you want. So
exactly.
That's what I like.
Well, without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this show, which is going to be the first run of the new edition of We Have the High Ground. And the first question on the dock: why, or why shouldn't I get into the High Republic? Soul?
Okay, so first off, we have Claudia Gray writing in the High Republic right now. I'm like 4 or 5 chapters into that book right now. She's the queen of the Star Wars like books and all of that. I love every single book that she's in. So that alone should bring you in, just the fact that she's writing in the High Republic. But another reason why you should say yes to the High Republic is that they took a huge leap with that. The book was by Charles Soule's Light of the Jedi. They did one of the things that I've never seen in a book before. And as you could tell, I read a lot of books here, and I got another shelf over there. Colin jokingly calls me the librarian. He said that should be my Schmoedown name if I ever join the Schmoedown. Spoilers here. They introduce a character. They're dead by the end of the chapter. 2 chapters in a row. I've never seen that in my life reading a book. That was so intriguing that I had to be like, wait, who's the main characters? What's actually going on in this book? Like, it kept me having to page turn and page turn and page turn because I wanted to know exactly what the story was. And
that's your first minute of opportunity to get my attention, Soul.
There you go.
I appreciate your candor. Boggs.
Yes, sir.
Blow me away.
Okay. So give me a 10-second countdown, but when I'm like 50 seconds, right?
Oh, I can do that. So I apologize for not doing that for you. You're the first.
That is okay.
Right, teething problems. But yes, so just to clarify, the answer is no. I'm out of the High Republic, unfortunately. I was super looking forward to it. I was a bit confused when the trailer dropped. It wasn't too much content in there. I was a little confused, and then I did get the book as soon as it came out first day. For me, the supplemental material, like the books, are always going to be niche for people like us, you know, the hardcore fans. And without any character or storyline to kind of lynch onto, apart from maybe Yoda, it's not interesting enough. Especially, you know, just without, like Soul was saying, she's used that as a positive. I use that as a negative. Every character, so many characters come in and out of the story. You know, we don't know anything about them. They get killed off. There's just not enough for me. I feel like there's not enough. Like, I don't care about any of these characters. They come and go. So unfortunately, I'm pretty
15?
much out. Yeah. So I haven't read this latest book that's come out, but I was so disappointed with the first book. It's not the worst ever Star Wars book I read, but I'm kind of like
5.
I'm not urgent to read it anymore. But I can't wait to hear Ace's opinion.
And time. I like this. This is fun. I'm making you guys. I like to see Boggs sweat at a time. It's usually we'll just go for hours on yours. This is fun.
Need a time
60 seconds is perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Ace.
Yeah.
Take it away, sir.
I'm in. I'm totally in. I feel like there is plenty of story there to go around, and you might be right, Boggs. I think that as far as characters goes, it might not necessarily be super focused on characters right now. I think they want to set the major story. They want to basically paint a picture as far as what the galaxy is going through now. And since it is a galaxy, the story is so broad and so big that they want to show you the kind of levels and layers that the Jedi had during this time period when it comes to the control they had over certain planets. So to me, it's more about like, what is the general story? I'll eventually latch onto a character as the story goes along. It's the Game of Thrones style, right? Where it's more about like, who's going for the throne. I'll figure out what family I'm rooting for later.
15
and
seconds.
that's what I love about the story. And also the Nile, I think it's what they call the Nile. The Nile. The Nile is a really cool idea, and a really cool design behind them that I feel is really cinematic and really interesting. That could work on screen, so it's kind of cool to imagine it.
Boom! A great first round of arguments. Right now, Ace, that was great. Bringing the villains, because that's one thing. Like, I read the first book and I was on Boggs' side, and now I'm starting to read the second book, and those things that Boggs did not care about or did not care for in the first book are there in this Claudia Gray novel. The lack of character development is clearly there. We meet a master and an apprentice on Coruscant. I believe Reeth is his name. Soul, is that correct? The apprentice.
Yeah.
And now we're carrying over their story, whereas the Light of the Jedi was a bit like, here's the story, and it's all happening at one time. Look at this story, and it's still going. And so it's a different type of meal, I guess, than Light of the Jedi's. I guess Claudia Gray is just easier for me to. She helps me digest Star Wars better. It's why Lost Stars is my favorite book. Boggs, I'm gonna throw this to you, and then we're gonna get into like a 2 to 3 minute. You guys just kind of go at each other, tell each other why you're right and wrong. Can the Acolyte, the show coming to Disney Plus, what does that show like? Does that show have the possibility to make you want to go back and find out all this stuff? Like, or are you just kind of you're waiting for that show? I think you go say.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It totally depends. Like, I know it's set kind of right at the end of the High Republic, so it totally depends, man. Like, I was kind of out when the trailer dropped. I think it was on the Star Wars YouTube channel. It just seemed like too, I don't know. It seemed really superficial. It just even in the trailer, and I couldn't just like. I could just tell it wasn't like, because Ace, just from what you said there, is like my best stories in terms of the books are the character stories. So even if it's a slow story, a contained story, this just isn't it. So that's what I was hoping for, and I never got it. But you know, if the Acolyte stuff is closer to that, if it's more character development, you know, with the Sith and everything, then yes, I'm definitely in. But this kind of fly-by quick stories, yes, they're absolutely trying to understand. They're trying to build this whole High Republic world, like you're saying, Ace. But yeah, for me, it's just too quick, and I can't like settle with it and get to know them and get to learn them and learn about the history of certain characters and stuff. So that's what I love the most about this stuff. Connie, on mute.
Soul, you seem to really enjoy this stuff. You seem to really enjoy Light of the Jedi. So push back there. Like, what was it about Light of Jedi that you didn't need the characters, but the story and the pace, was that it?
I think the fact what Ace was saying there is that it was giving me Game of Thrones vibes. It was giving me that, like, I just want to know what the world is. It was a lot of world building in this first book, and it made, I guess with me, like I have like future mind where I'm just like, all this world building that's happening in this book, we're going to go into the characters that were of the world later in other books, which we're kind of getting, like you said, with the Claudia Gray novel right now, is that it was kind of like that first book that's setting up the world. We haven't been in the High Republic before. We didn't know what was going on. And then also the funniest thing that made me laugh is the fact that there's Jedi romance novels. That was like a little
I did like that
in the second, and that what was it? They said lightsaber battles were clearly a substitute for what they really wanted to do, and I was just like, when I read that, I was like, what? What am I reading? This is hilarious.
Yeah, see, there you go. You sold. It's over. Debate is over. No, I think it's the question between plot and between characters, right? Where a lot of the time, maybe because I'm speaking from a biased position in the sense that I watch a lot of anime, and anime is essentially all plot. And it's like, we'll tell you who, you know, the shonen main character is in the beginning, later on. But it's one of those things where it's tell me what the story is, what the world is, where I'm at, and then eventually I'll pick a character that I like, just to follow along in that story. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the main protagonist. It could be a side character that I really enjoy. So I feel like that's maybe where the world is going and where the book is going, or where the book series is going so far, is where it's like, hey, imagine this world where these two powers are fighting each other and what the Jedi have to go through during this time. And then we'll eventually catch up with characters and all that. I don't know. This is the Attack on Titan formula.
You said anime, and I was just like, here's all my manga over here. Like, I agree. That's probably why I like it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. So to close out round one, you guys, Boggs, if I didn't want to read it, I would listen to you because you gave me excellent points. Ace, if I wanted to wait for the future and see what it has in store, great argument. Soul, if I wanted to hop in right now because it's awesome, I don't know what I'm going to do. But I do know what I'm going to do. First point goes to Soul. You sold me on those Jedi love books. That's it right there. To bring it back to some anime, Mad Kakashi vibes. You could see me up there.
I want a challenge. I want it now.
You could see me up there reading my what's the name of the books that Kakashi reads in Naruto? It's like they're dirty books. They're dirty books though, but you can just see like Mace Windu sitting on top of the Jedi Temple like Deadpool in the Deadpool pose on top of the bridge. Like, oh, this is nice. So now that I have that in my head, round one goes to Soul.
Woo!
She's taking the inaugural point in the new edition of We Have the High Ground. Question number 2. A quick happy birthday to a man who's brought more pleasure to these ears than almost any other musician ever. I've listened to Mahler, Beethoven, all the greats. John Williams is going to be up there 200-300 years from now. They'll be mentioning his name with all these greats. And a happy birthday to Mr. John Williams. Inspiring this question, throwing it to Boggs first. What's his best score?
Oh, big debate. So I don't know, like I've got like 10 that I've made a note of. I have to give a shout out to Yoda's theme in Empire. Hearing that even in The Mandalorian with Grogu and Ahsoka there, hearing Yoda's theme, her talking about Yoda, because whenever I hear that theme, I just think of Luke like so tired on Dagobah. Like, how'd you do it? That is why you fail. And I just think of that lyric all the time, or that line. But got to give a shout out to Rey's theme. You gotta love that. Kylo's theme I really love, even though I don't like The Last Jedi. I got that like loud blasting noise in your ears, like something evil is coming, something bad is coming. But for me, the main theme, the actual literally the main theme is my favorite theme. You know, hearing the blast, and then you see Star Wars, and then it's kind of going away, and then you hear the and you're like, what the hell's going on with like this? Obviously, you're in space, and then it's kind of and then you're just reading the scroll 15. As it comes, and you're just in the theater. Because the first time I see it in the movies, I always appreciate just that setting and thinking, I made it to the next Star Wars movie. Like I've lived through this. Like I've been in this moment where you're watching the crawl, and the theme. So that's actually my alarm every morning. So it like instantly wakes you up and puts you in a good mood. So it's the main theme for me is the best John Williams.
And time. You can't go wrong with the original. Ace, what is yours?
Okay, so since we're doing our favorite themes, I was gonna pick something outside of the box, but you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go with the real one, man. I'm gonna go with the correct choice. And that is my original experience in theaters. It destroyed people all around the world and made a superstar out of this character and out of this moment. And it was a one-off character who came back. That is the incredible 1999 Phantom Menace, Duel of the Fates. It is the theme that basically floored everyone, that John Williams can make a banger, a straight up like hip hop joint. Like this thing was insane. It comes in with Darth Maul taking off his hood, pulling out the double-bladed lightsaber. The theme just soars, and it's just full place, full blast,
10 seconds.
Coming at you in your face. And it's absolutely no holds bar, insane. It was even played on MTV, on TRL. That's how much of a great song it was that people listened to.
And cut. You should have just ended with TRL right there. That was it. That was it. Coming home from school, and then you were like, wait, what did they just play?
They do it now in soccer matches. Like before, when that shaking hands is like they they meet up, like, are they doing like the team poses that they play that like Duel of the Fates?
How hard was it for you to say soccer and not football?
Did I just say soccer? I didn't even
Yeah.
realize. I just,
Yeah,
you did.
I don't know. It's just the
Shame
you
on
guys,
you.
isn't it? So yeah.
Soul,
Um,
you only have a minute, okay?
okay.
After a little technical snafu on the show, Soul is going to give it another shot at her answer to what is the best. Score
Alright,
from John
so
Williams.
I picked Leia's theme. It's set in D major, which John Williams said that he set it in that key because that key is associated with overachievers and negotiators. It's that's a major key, so it invokes hope and happiness, and so you get that kind of when you're listening to that theme, just like all the hopefulness from Leia. Starts off with low brass on a mute, then it goes to like with the strings as an ornament over it, beautiful, passes to bassoon, then flute. Then you have a call and response with the strings and the brass that is chef's kiss. It's so beautiful that it goes into like then a crescendo of like the brass at the end that is like just peak musical stuff there. And then it just brings it back down where it's like a mezzo piano with the woodwinds and the brass, and just like
15
each
seconds.
musical thing that happens in Leia's theme. And I'm so sorry for all the sound behind me. I live on a major road. But all the musical stuff that happens in that theme is just like pure musical genius.
Boom. A perfect minute. Ace. I also love Duel of the Fates. I can't tell you how many times I sang it as a child while I played with my action figures. Which of the other two themes
Ooh.
are you just poo-pooing immediately? The main theme's the main theme, you know? It's overrated. It's the if you maybe it's a little they killed it like J. Cole songs on the radio. They're all great, but we've heard them a billion times now. Or is it Leia's theme? I don't know.
So you're saying I have to pick one of those two?
Yeah, just start a fight. I'm just here to cause trouble.
I mean, Leia's theme is associated with one of the best Star Wars characters, and it's so beautiful. The problem with the opening theme is that it's not associated with a moment or a character. It's mainly associated with reading the scroll, which is fun, but it's not as fun as like meeting Leia, or it's not as fun as Darth Maul fighting Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi on Naboo in this epic battle that is still one of the best lightsaber battles of all time, if not the best. So this is just what I think. I'm trying to be nice.
Nice loses you appendages in this story. And once you're nice to people, you lose an arm. Boggs,
right.
Take his arm.
No. It's, I understand. You know, that's connected to an emotion in terms of a character. You know, someone you can literally attach yourself to, that kind of thing. But for the main thing for me, there is emotion there because you're sitting there, and that's the height of excitement when it comes to Star Wars. You know, you booked your ticket 2 months ago. You're waiting in that. You know, you've been waiting to hear the noise. As soon as you hear a long time ago to see it, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, you hear the blast. You're like, yes, I'm finally here. I survived another year or 2 years or whatever. And just being in that safe place, that comfort place. You know, I remember being, a kid, whatever, 9 years old, watching, the original trilogy or whatever, or like same as you, Ace, watching it as a teenager, the prequels, and seeing it and thinking, oh, okay. It's just that it as well. It's like an epic, kind of like almost like Greek mythology type music. Like, I don't know, there's like a definitely a grand theme about it that where you hear the sci-fi, you hear the majesty of it. It's like a grand announcement is occurring. So
Regal,
yeah,
I believe. Yeah,
something like that. Yeah. It's almost like a medieval, like a announcement, when like a king arrives or that kind of thing. So yes, I definitely get that kind of electricity and energy about it when I hear it. But
Soul, I don't cry during it like I do during Leia's theme. Why don't I cry?
And I think too, as much as we all love the original theme, it is all set at like forte. It's triumphant. It is like, that's what it is. It's bringing you into Star Wars. There's not the ebbs and flows, the crescendos and decrescendos that you get in Leia's theme, or even like some of the musical things that happen in Duel of the Fates. Great song, and you have like what is going on the screen as well for Duel of the Fates. So I think like out of the three, musically, it's the weakest, and that's like such a like John Williams has no weak music at all. Like, so that is like not an insult because it's an amazing like theme, but
That is the spiciest thing I've ever heard come out of your mouth. Like, you know what? This piece of music, it's just not quite as good as these other two pieces of music because of music. I love it. It's so good. Ace, any final words?
I will say this. I'm a simple man. I like to dance. I like to shake my booty. And there's only one song on this list that you can dance to and that you can shake your booty to, and that is Duel of the Fates. You can blast that in your car and you will straight up like do all the dances on all the TikToks that are possible because it's got a beat, it's got a rhythm, it's got a choir. You can actually move to it versus Leia's theme. Yeah, exactly. Like that's, come on, that's a banger, bro. That's straight up. You can play that now and it'll be a hit. Like my song is actually
on Rap Caviar on Spotify, damn it.
Yes, exactly. So I say most energetic, most listenable, most listenable in your car, in radio, whatever it is. I think Duel of the Fates is the one song that just kind of transcended Star Wars into the real world, into like pop culture world, where it was just such a popular song that everyone was just listening to it.
That's the end of round 2. A great way to close it out. Man, Bugs. This is
Does I take the L there?
This is spicy conversation.
Finish me off there, man.
This is over. I love the opening.
I love playing.
But that you know, the really subtle one in about Duel of the Fates, Ace, is it's in Attack of the Clones, isn't it? When Anakin's on Tatooine and he's going to the Tusken Raiders, and I love that scene, man. When he's on Tatooine and you get the sunset, and he speaks to the kind of, is it the Jawas as well? Yeah, that's like no one ever talks about. It's Duel of the Fates there. Like again, it's like what Filoni mentioned in the kind of backstage of the Mandalorian series. It's the fate of Anakin. Like we're seeing a transition here. He's gonna, you know, he's gonna literally see his mother die and then kill all the Tusken Raiders. This is the consequence of kind of all that's happened before. So like people don't like Attack of the Clones. They're not seeing this stuff, man. Like it's hitting me, man. Like that's the legit emotional thing.
Attack of the Clones was actually the one I was going to pick, but I was like, man, Duel of Fates is such a banger that I have to pick Duel of the Fates. But Attack of the Clones to me has like incredible songs, and it has Across the Stars, which is one of my favorite themes, if not my favorite. So,
well, I'll tell you what my favorite was. Dogs, you stole it at the end. You kind of gave Ace the win. You said it's in episode 2 as well, and I forgot.
That's a great scene.
I just imagined like. Yeah. Was that Star Wars scene? Like, did they use that shot for Jax on Sons of Anarchy? Because they are positioned the same. He does look kind of, you know, he's riding his motorcycle, trying to look all cool, trying to look like Anakin Skywalker a little bit. Ace takes round 2 with Duel of the Fates because I do love to shake my booty to some John Williams.
Yeah.
All right. Round 3 is about to get sweaty. Round 3 is where the players come to play. This is where the true Star Wars savants will make their marks on this show. And I ask you a simple question, Mr. Cabrera. Who's the best pilot in the Star Wars galaxy?
It's the question I've been waiting for, man. This is an easy one. This is a layup, a dunk, a slam dunk. It's Harrison Dula. Harrison Dula is the best pilot in the galaxy by far. I've said this before, but the one person to actually get recognition and almost, you could say, fear out of Thrawn when it comes to her skills as a pilot. He said it several times in Rebels. He said, Harrison Dula, the kind of pilot she is, we would know who Harrison Dula is as soon as you see that ship flying. That's how much Thrawn is giving her recognition. And if someone like Thrawn is saying, yo, this one is dangerous, you know she's good. And she has numerous amounts of times saved the crew out of crazy situations because of her skills as a pilot. And she's flying one of the best ships in the galaxy, if not the best ship in the galaxy, which is the Ghost. VCX 100, still one of the best ships there is. So fast, so strong. She can get out of anything and she can fly anything.
That's time. Woo!
She went 30 longer, man. I wanted to hear more.
Go! This is gonna be so. This fight at the end is gonna be so much fun. I know you got like. This is gonna be great. I love it. It's Hera. Just talk about the ship for a second. Let's talk about how many times like that. What do they call the second ship? Just the the second little tinier ship that pops off the back. So useful.
Oh yeah, it's called
so
something,
useful.
Isn't it the Phantom?
The
Yes,
Phantom.
yeah.
How many? All ships need that. Like, come on. How many times in a ship, like, if the Millennium Falcon had, like, a little tinier disc that popped up out the top, and they'd be like, what if it was just, like, the living room, like, popped out the middle? And it was like, all right, cool, we got
And the Millennium Falcon bemes a donut.
Yeah, kind of like, yeah, exactly. Kind of like in Batman, when he takes the car, and he turns it into a bike. It's kind of cool like that.
It's like it's kind of there in the Solo movie.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
The escape pod in the mandible hatch.
Oh,
The
yeah.
front
is
thing.
what he calls it.
Yeah.
Uses it to escape the creature.
The creature.
I was going to say the name of the creature, but I forgot it, and I was like, wait a minute.
Oh, it's not the right time. Or this is the right time to forget it.
This is a good time to forget. Soul.
So
Who is
it's Anakin for me.
Mm.
So in episode 4, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi saying he was the best star pilot in the galaxy.
It's biased.
So you get that right from the first movie. Before even being trained as a Jedi, he's one of the only humans, if not the only human pod racers, and he also helped in the destruction of the Trade Federation control ship for the blockade of Naboo in episode 1. So that's like, as a little kid, he had that skill level there. He's a very confident pilot. You see him in Clone Wars with all of the battles that he's been piloting, teaching Ahsoka too, kind of like what it means to be a pilot out there as well. But yeah, his tactical abilities are phenomenal. And then not only like is he a good pilot, not just like in the space battles, but he's also like, in case he's taking over a ship or something that is about to crash, no one dies. He protects everyone as like a crash landing. So he's the best pilot for me.
Another happy landing there. Boggs. I know what's coming, so this is about to get spicy. I love it. Take it away.
Well, it's not, because Soul stole mine. Shout.
No, did she? I think you can still do this.
No, she did. Okay, so no, I'll double down on Soul's, because Vader was my shout. But at the same time, you know what Ace is saying there, where hear it like what I think. Like, is she better than Poe? Probably. Is she better than Han? Yeah. Is she better than? It can kind of keep going. Like, is she better than Obi-Wan's? Like I think a bit of a Soul good pilot, and Luke as well, but. I'm going to go Poe, actually. I'm going to go Poe. So more kind of specifically his entrance in The Force Awakens, well, obviously flying the TIE fighter pilot with Finn. He did struggle at first, but they managed to get out. They crash land, but they still, at least he can fly. He can fly anything, right? That's the line. And also obviously in Force Awakens, that is one of my favorite scenes when they come in, kind of just above the water, and then he blasts all them ships out the sky, and Finn says, "That's one hell of a pilot," how he does, and that's an awesome scene, and it kind of spins right round, just above that kind of battle overall. Seconds. But yeah, no, I can see my time, but it was stole so mine. I thought I was being clever there, picking Vader. I was like, yeah.
I was going to let you still go, and it was going to be a great conversation of why Vader was a better pilot than Anakin, and you could have won. That was it. You had it. Vader's better because he doesn't have to do all the things.
Yeah, I hear that. But
I think
we're going to debate now.
Anakin's ass if you put the two of them against each other in Star Wars Squadrons, the video game. I think Vader would whoop Anakin's ass because Vader doesn't have to do anything.
It's hard to turn around in that suit. You can't look behind.
That's one of the things I was
all
going to
the
say.
time. Our favorite moments of Vader, when they're outside of the films, are when he's alone. And there's a specific scene in Lords of the Sith where he talks about like how he pilots. It's such a unique concept of he had to get used to letting the machine be the machine. And then he's not really doing anything, and that's why he's so powerful in the Force, because his body's not doing anything. It's all the machine. And once he figures out that potential, he just lets loose with the Force and lets the Force do everything. So I wouldn't want to go against that.
He goes into things like this in the Legends books. In is it Dark Lord? Dark Lord of the Sith, right? And I think it's what Colin mentioned there. Like, he uses the Force to because his suit is limited. Obviously, his vision is limited.
Boggs, I'll
so
give you 15 seconds if you want to change your pick.
No. He uses the mechanics of his suit, to obviously to help his vision. And he has to, that's how kind of strong he is in the Force. Like he has to use his additional abilities to like to feel other pilots, in the ships, and obviously predict the gunfire and things like that. That's what makes him kind of extra special for me as a pilot, because he is physically limited. But that's a superficial thing. That's like a surface thing. Like his inner abilities kind of make him the best. And just to double down on Soul, what she's saying, that like the stuff in Rebels when he's like facing the whole of the Phoenix Squadron on his own, before kind of Ahsoka reaches out and, the apprentice lives, that scene. But that whole episode where he's kind of just murking the whole kind of Phoenix Squadron. And just obviously in A New Hope as well, when he's the one that comes in, on his lead, him being the leader, it just kind of doubles down on how good he is as a pilot, and taking all them kind of other, other rebels out. So yes, you stole my idea, but we're teaming up against Ace. So yeah.
Keep helping. Yeah, keep helping other people win points, Boggs.
Why not? I'm a team player.
Doing pretty good. Ace, I still feel like Hera hasn't got enough love. Keep on.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna poke holes in Anakin.
Do it.
Hera does this like 24/7. Like Anakin's got other stuff to do. Anakin's got to do his own Jedi duty, his Jedi work, his Jedi training, his military missions, whatever the case may be. He's mainly feet on the ground most of the time. Hera is in the air all the time. She is constantly flying 24/7, constantly getting people in and out of situations. Every time there's a mission, she's staying on the ship and she's flying. Why? Because she's calling the shots and she's the leader behind it. So not only is she flying, but she's coaching too, where she's telling everyone what to do, what the mission is, where to go, what the escape route is. All that stuff is going through Hera. So to me, Hera is doing something that's just on a different level, where she's literally the pilot when it comes to Star Wars, because of how many times she's getting in and out of situations. It's because of how long she's behind the wheel or the pilot, whatever it is.
Yeah, she just it feels like she doesn't get enough respect for how much she does. So I hear you there, because she is doing, whereas, Anakin gets, a plan for, there's somebody else's plan. They're going in, they're executing the orders that they're doing. Hera's giving the orders.
Yeah.
Hera's solving the thing. She's doing it all, and she's got to deal with Chopper all the time. So
and she was in the Battle of Scarif, and she was in the Rise of Skywalker. What we think
I assume she was at the Battle of Exegol, the Battle of Scarif, the Battle of Endor. I assume she was at somewhere she had to be somewhere during the first.
She was in Rogue One.
Right, yeah, she was in Rogue One. Yeah, exactly. So she had to be somewhere.
And the Ghost was in the last movie, the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's Hera. No one else.
That was Jason. Could have been Jason.
Could have been, but I still think
I like to think he's there.
Yeah.
I just need the show. I just need to know. I just need to see somebody go through pilot training in this damn universe.
Yeah.
No one's actually really been taught how to be a pilot in this universe.
But
everyone always already is one. Like even the kid on Star Wars Resistance is like a really badass pilot when you let him go, and he's already pretty good. I want to see Jason have to actually learn from the best.
So I want to counter Ace though on there that yes, Hera is the one that's always piloting. That's what she does. And Anakin, he does have a lot of ground work with Attack of the Clones and in Clone Wars. However, we got that line. He was the best star pilot in the galaxy in episode 4. So that was something of note that Obi-Wan Kenobi said. He didn't say, oh, he was the best with a lightsaber. Oh, he was the best this or best that. He's focused on the pilot part of Anakin. And so because of that, even though he's done all these other things, that was the focus in episode 4 with Obi-Wan saying that. So I think that just shows you how great he is, that of all the great things he's done before becoming Darth Vader, that's one that was focused on.
I'd like to take the from a certain point of view angle and say that he was pandering to his audience because he knew how much Luke loved to pilot his
and he wanted him to get off the planet.
He was like, I'm trying to get this kid out of here. Let me pander.
We're going story based here, yeah.
He's great.
Oh, you want to be a pilot? Oh,
Yeah.
funny! Your
Your
dad,
dad
was a pilot.
Your dad was the GOAT.
And a cunning warrior. And a cunning warrior. You cut all his limbs off. You didn't tell him that, did you? So yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot he's missing out there. But
And a great friend.
Yeah, and a great friend. Yeah, I mean, it definitely is from a biased position. I would counter back and say that Obi-Wan is definitely coming from a perspective of, yeah, compared to Obi-Wan, he was probably the best pilot. Maybe even compared to all the Jedi. But I still feel like Hera, the stuff she does in the cockpit is probably more than what most people have done in the cockpit in any of the Star Wars stories. The fact that she's constantly getting out of insane situations, getting out of crazy planets that she has to go through, being chased and still getting out of the situation, not necessarily having to use offensive maneuvers, only using defensive maneuvers as far as evading. I feel like that to me shows how much of a great pilot she is. And she doesn't necessarily have to be this crazy, fighter pilot. She is a great, evasive pilot, cargo pilot, fighter pilot, whatever you need her to be, she's there.
She's got a 99 2K rating, and that's why she takes the cake. And Ace is the winner. We don't need to go to a final round. Ace is taking the final 2 rounds. Boggs, you had it if you stuck with Vader. If you stuck with Vader, you had it. You had it in the bag, but you went with Poe, and he can fly anything except this show.
Ace, it is Hera, the correct.
The correct answer is Hera.
I was going to start to go into like the Twi'lek brain. She's got a huge brain, guys.
Also, you just got to think that, like, if every being has a metachlorian count, that, like, hers is just, like, she's a very high-functioning, non-Jedi person, right? So, I think that's something, I think there's something to say with that in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Where there's, like, you get down to the science of it. It is cringy to talk about the metachlorians, but, like, there's got to be some truth to it. Yeah, the M count's got to be pretty high for her, where she's a pretty high-functioning being that just doesn't, push people with her mind.
Yeah.
This is pretty sick. But, folks, how did you like this new edition of We Have the High Ground? We can give it a shot next week. Hopefully we'll see, maybe get into some video game talk. Who knows? We got a lot of stuff coming up. The Bad Batch is on its way. We're anxiously awaiting to know when that's going to come out. Dave, we're waiting. I don't know if you know. None of us are really doing anything right now. WandaVision's cool, but Star Wars is great. So give us more Star Wars, please. Finnick Shan, we need more of that. Can't wait for that. Throw it around the horn. Boggs, any final questions for our guest, Ace, before we let everybody go?
Yeah, just wondering really, Ace, what are the kind of main stories you're looking forward to in the next, let's say, coming year or two? Obviously, we had that great kind of finish with The Mandalorian. Obviously, we've got the Boba Fett stuff. We've got, any more of the books that you're after. Kind of where Ahsoka's story is, where the Range of the Republic is. I know it's a bit of an open, big question.
Yeah,
but yeah, what are you thinking?
It's cool, right? Because there's so many stories coming up, and there's so many shows coming up. You know what's interesting? I talked about it on my Star Wars show, Sabak the Block, but I talked about the idea of more Star Wars animation. And then I was reminded that we are getting more Star Wars animation with Star Wars Visions, which is the new anime version of the Star Wars stories. So I think it'd be kind of cool to maybe in the future, and this is me thinking like way longer in the future, maybe make an anime story in the Star Wars universe, like an original new anime story. Maybe even make it Light of the Jedi. I mean, not Light of the Jedi. Make it High Republic anime style. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I think that making more Star Wars animation is kind of the way to go.
I think that tailors very well to like the shonen style. And Boggs to kind of relate to what that is. It's very mainstream anime, and it's like Ace mentioned before, very, very plot heavy. It's extremely plot heavy. So there's never going to be like, well, there is filler episodes. There's no really like filler episodes. There are like filler arcs in anime, which are, just kind of light and cheesy and fun, and they're just on their own. But in Star Wars, if you have that just meat and potatoes all the time, and there's no need for like a Grogu and Din Djarin on the ice planet with the Frog Lady episode, if there's none of that and it's just booking, I would love to see the anime universe tackled like the beginnings of the Sith Academy, when they are the Sith, like something like that, where you can like even seeing Bane through the eyes of anime, I think would be fantastic because it's so dark. It lends such a tone that Star Wars hasn't tackled yet, where it's like, where yes, you know that Vader becomes evil, but you also knew when you were watching Revenge of the Sith that Luke saves him and Vader turns back to Anakin and his soul is saved and he goes to the light side at the end. A story like Bane, I would love to see just darkness told through Star Wars, and I think anime would be a perfect lens for that. So, any final questions for Ace?
So, Ace, I know not only are you a huge Star Wars fan, but you're also a huge Attack on Titans fan. If you were to take an Attack on Titans character and drop them into the Star Wars universe, which one would it be?
I think it's an easy choice here. Well, I don't know if it's an easy choice because I'm sure there's a lot of Levi fans who will get mad at me. It's Mikasa. To me, it's all about Mikasa. I think she would be incredible in the Star Wars universe. She'd be a great Jedi. She's got obviously skills with the sword. And she is just in general super powerful. So I think she would work great as a Jedi.
What color would her lightsabers be?
Yes.
Ooh. If I'm being honest, blue. Probably blue.
Yeah. I'm seeing like a blue and maybe like a yellow. I love that off tint that Ahsoka had for her second blade, where it's like not quite green, it's not quite yellow, it's just like kind of in the middle. I love that one for her.
I could see her being like a Samuel L. Jackson. No, I want a purple lightsaber.
Well, and I want two of them mofos. I want two of them. I want two of them, and they better be hard. And so this was going to be the bonus question. So you kind of took it sort of, but it was going to be, and I'll throw it to Boggs. What Avatar: The Last Airbender character would you bring into the Star Wars universe as part of your crew?
So I'm not 100% with all the names. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Who's the main Avatar guy?
Aang.
Aang. Yeah. So probably. Oh, actually, I don't know. Maybe the young firebender guy with a mark on his eye.
Zuko.
Oh, that's my choice.
I'd say him. Yeah, because
he already is a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
True. His name is Kylo Ren.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He is Kylo.
Oh, did they kind of use that as a?
Oh, it is very heavily implied that J.J. Abrams was like, oh, I totally just watched Avatar: The Last Airbender with my son, who I'm now writing a comic with. Let's influence Kylo.
He's definitely in Star Wars, yeah. It's great. It works perfectly, though. I think it's definitely, as soon as I saw Force Awakens, I was like, wait a minute, is that Zuko?
That's literally why I gravitated to him. I was like,
oh yeah, he's like a moody teenager, actually. Thinking about it, yeah.
Wow.
So I haven't finished.
He gets a scar. He gets a scar on his eye, too.
Yeah.
That's kind of nuts.
Zuko.
Ace, any other choices, or did they nail it?
I mean, I gotta give a shout out to my boy Sokka, man. Sokka, he's a sword master now, trained. He's elite. He's smart. He's funny and quirky, so he fits in the Star Wars universe as well because of his humor. So I think Sokka would be great.
Yeah, he has that Poe Dameron humor.
Yeah.
You guys are really forgetting that like Asami would just run the entire world. You know,
Asami's awesome, man.
Asami, I feel like, but she's from Korra box, so you haven't gotten there yet. But Asami, I mean, she is. She would rule. She should have her own company. Yeah. She would own like.
She would be like in the MCU. She'd be like an Iron Man in the MCU.
I'm thinking that she had a hand in the Starlight Command Center in the High Republic, like you know how they're talking about like it's a communications relay center. That'd be right up her alley, where she's like, oh, we got to be able to communicate with everybody. How are we gonna make it happen? She'd be perfect for because who's the Chancellor in the High Republic. She's very like grand. She's very big idea. There's never a bad idea. We're just trying to do all good things. Asami.
Oh, Varric from Legend of Korra would also probably be in that communication center as well.
Yeah.
I got one more question for Ace because we just mentioned it. We mentioned Poe a few times. I got to ask Ace. You know, obviously we've had quite a number of kind of Latina leads now recently with Poe. Obviously Diego Luna as well, and Pedro Pascal. Are you happy with this? Is this not enough? Is this a step forward? What are your thoughts? Because me personally, obviously I'm not Latino, but like I think it's definitely, you know, we've got 3 leads here in 3 different series. You know, the sequel trilogy, we've got Mandalorian, and we've got Rogue One, and he's getting another series. So I think it is a really good step forward. Yeah, obviously we could do more. There's no ladies, for example. That's definitely a step forward in terms of Latino ladies. But what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love it, man. I would love to see more. And it's definitely one of those things too, where I feel like it's never it's never about trying to measure up as far as like, oh, if we got 3, that's plenty. It's more about let's see their story develop, which is why I'm glad they greenlit that Cassian Andor series. Because if we're being honest, if you just go down the list, you could say DJ is a one-off character who's in it for maybe 15 minutes. Poe is a side character in the main trilogy, and Diego Luna dies in one movie. Those are all kind of quick exits for
and Pedro's
really cool
covered
characters.
like nearly
and
the whole
covered.
thing. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like those are all kind of quick exits, and then one of them is covered up. So it's like, yes, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. It's actually kind of like the bare minimum. But now that they're giving Cassian Andor a show, and now that Din is starting to pop off a little bit more, and Poe, to be honest, I love Poe's story and his arc inside the trilogy. I think it's super cool. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I do. So it's great, man. I really do. I hope there's more to come, and I really hope that. I feel like right now, Lucasfilm and the Star Wars universe is one of the only companies and only studios out there that are really kind of actively looking for Latin actors, which is rare because no one does, to be fair. But they seem to be like on the look for them because they keep hiring them. So I think it's really cool.
I was just thinking MCU, is there any? And I don't think there is, right?
Luis is the only one. As much as I love his character, it is stereotypical.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
And it's just like a side goofy character.
Yeah.
Right. And that was, I remember Roca took a lot of heat. John Roca, a friend of the show, took a lot of heat when Ant-Man came out because this was way back in the Collider days for that crew. And on Movie Talk, he was like, yo, that was stereotypical as fuck. In the first 3 minutes, he's like, well, my dad got deported, but I got the band. Like, it just goes through literally all the things that you want to be stereotypical. Exactly. Everything about it. And he took a lot of heat for that, and everyone's like, what do you mean you just can't enjoy it? It was funny. He was like, yeah, it was funny to you because it was racking on us. And
and I've been very vocal about that in the MCUs, that we need more Latinos in the MCU. I think we have the opportunity to bring like America Chavez or any other like Latino characters that are in the comics into the MCU. I've been happy about like they're adding Black actors. They have now like Asian actors as well, but they're lacking on the Latino front. And I hope that this next few phases they fix that.
So then I have a question to you, Soul. Is this just me being ignorant? But how many, and I just feel like this is more, there are more in the DC universe that I know of. There are so many more Latino superheroes in the DC universe. Like, just Blue Beetle off the top of my head. James, it's like just right off the top. It's just so, at least growing over the last like 5 years has been huge in the Titans, like a Young Justice world has really got a lot of show. There aren't a lot of young Latino heroes or heroines in the Marvel universe. They just, and that's what they're drawing from right now, are the heroes that they created over the last few years, right? Like you got like Young Avengers, you have Riri Williams is going to become Ironheart, and you have Kamala Khan is going to be Miss Marvel, but it just doesn't seem like they have this plethora of characters to choose from.
Before you guys answer, do you mind if I check on something real quick?
Yeah,
so sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, no problem.
I will say that, a lot of the Latino characters are the newer ones, but they already show that they're pulling from new ones. We're getting Miss Marvel, we're getting Riri Williams, Ironheart. So I can bring in America Chavez,
right,
for the Young Avengers and stuff like that, and that would be a step in the right directions as well. I mean, we have Zoe Saldana, who she is Latina, she's Dominican and Puerto Rican, I believe, but
they covered her in green skin.
Yeah, so she's not like where I say like Bill Burr is. He's from Space Boston. You know he's Space Boston. He has the accent, and you could tell.
Where is Space Guadalajara? Please show me Space Guadalajara.
Space Guadalajara. But in Star Wars too, I can see, like I've told you guys this off camera, like I want Ezra to either be Latino or like Middle Eastern. That's what he is in my head, kind of like just his coloration from Rebels. I want to see some more Latino characters, and Boggs made a great point, female Latino characters in Star Wars as well.
Absolutely. It's just, that was interesting to me on the Marvel side of things, where it's like they are so actively trying to cover bases that it's like they're completely missing home plate. It's like you have to stick, like.
Yeah, and we are the largest minority in this country.
Exactly. And you look at anything politically or anything like that, like in America at least, the Latino sway is what pushes the culture. It pushes the envelope one way or the other. Like you know, it's like, oh, how are you going to win an election? That's the thing in America. Like, oh, how are you going to win an election? Got to figure out like what
our
is
box office power.
Box office, exactly.
Movies wise, yeah.
Yeah, you got to find a way, and Marvel just hasn't felt like they found the way. But Star Wars, the fact that they're committing to Cassian Andor for what seems to be more than one season, with the way that Alan Tudyk is talking about it, with K2SO not really being a part of the first season, and they want to kind of build up to that. That's awesome. That's just so cool. And I mean, you mentioned Space Boston, but if there's space wherever Diego Luna came from, there's got to be more people that look and talk like him. So you might get your wish.
Yeah, and you've seen it, which is really cool.
This is gonna be awesome. I'm so excited for
that's the thing too with the MCU is like there's so many like Latino fans who love the MCU too. So it's also a thing of like, hey, we make up like a huge portion of your fan base. So it's like it's kind of dumb not to do it. I think the MCU should start to get a hold of that.
Look, we got Captain America, we got Captain Britain, we got Captain Canada. I mean, Captain Mexico. It would seem to be like just do it, like just try it. There's got to be a way to like not
bring in Captain Cuba,
whatever, right? There's got to be a way. Like, I mean, you guys, Comic-Con in Brazil is one of the biggest events in the world, and I don't know a Brazilian superhero. I can name 5 Canadian superheroes. Why can I name 5 strictly Canadian superheroes that are like, I'm Canadian and I'm very happy that I'm Canadian, but there's never like, oh, I am so happy that I am from Tijuana. Like, there's no one that's like, I'm so happy to be a border kid that grow to be a superhero. We just got to get on that. And I think that just comes from voices. That's voices and storytelling. And slowly but surely, more people open-minded like us are going to get into the storytelling rooms and get into the decision-making rooms. And that's where it has to happen. It's happening in Lucasfilm. Hopefully it'll happen in Marvel. But it's nice to just see that the stories are
and I think we're going to see more Latinos in Book of Boba Fett with Robert Rodriguez being on the... We're probably going to see Machete in it. He's probably going to have
what if he's like a dope bartender, or if he plays like the...
bounty hunter.
The role of the guy from the Jailbreak episode of season 1 that was in Sons of Anarchy, the short guy. They kind of put the crew together that ran the ship in The Mandalorian. From season 1.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the guy from season 1 of Mando, that he kind of like put the crew together, but he didn't go on the mission. I would like to see Machete kind of be that guy. He kind of like riles everybody together, but he doesn't necessarily do. He's like, oh, that was me back in the day.
I see what you're saying.
I used to run with the rough.
That was the Rick Famuyiwa episode.
Yeah. I just love talking like Rick Famuyiwa. It's the way everybody talks about him and the way that has a presence on set. It just makes me so excited for anything that guy wants to do in Star Wars. Just hand it to him. It's kind of why I'm mad he's not doing The Flash. After seeing what he did with this and the way people talk about him and his set presence, just one of those things like, wish I could have seen that. But
yeah,
that was 6 directors ago on that movie, so who knows whenever that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, Boggs, any final words before we get out of here, sir?
No, just thanks Ace so much. Because Ace, I don't know if you know, like I think that for me, like you're our voice in this community, because not only in the Schmoedown, because in terms of diversity, whatever, minorities and stuff, obviously you are the main lead there for me, and also Demon Hunter as well, shout out to him. But you in particular, because you're holding the fort down with your own shows, your own podcast, Jedi Council, and just having that overall love like that us guys have. That, and you're our kind of representative in there. That's what I feel like. So yeah, just anyone watching, please follow Ace, support him. Hopefully he wins that title this year that we keep talking about, this round title. And yeah, just love all your work, man, and just keep up. And I feel like you're representing us. So yeah,
thank you, man.
Just appreciate it.
I echo everything that he just said.
Thank you, guys.
Same, man. We appreciate you for coming on. Where can the people find you? Run your docket.
Yeah, so you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Squad Leader Ace, and obviously my YouTube channel, that you were talking about is on First Cut. If you search First Cut on YouTube, that's where you can find it. Yeah, go check it out. We have reviews of movies, of TV shows, of anime. Anything you can imagine is on that channel. So go check it out.
Fantastic. I'm trying to get more people to talk anime with me on here, but I'm the only crazy person.
I like anime.
I know, but it's watching Attack on Titan and then having to like explain it to my girlfriend every Sunday is literally like talking to somebody in Spanish and trying to talk to somebody in Japanese at the same time. They're just like, what are we doing here? We just don't communicate at all. But folks, this was just so much fun. This new, we're gonna give this a shot next week. The new format. We hope everybody enjoyed. Boggs, where can the fine folks find you? Quick send off.
Just here really, Pop Culture Universe. You know, we have the High Ground every Fridays, Pop Talks on Sundays, the Ultimate Schmoedown after show, okay, changed by Christian himself. We are live every Saturdays at 3 p.m. on John Roker's YouTube channel, so check that out. We have Kate Mulligan this series, this Saturday, so to break that down with her, so it should be a good time, good laugh with her.
And the newest co-host of that show is Soul. How are you?
I'm doing good. You can find me at SoulGovan on Twitter, at soul.k.govan on Instagram, every Wednesday for Soul Talk on the Media Sweaties Network, and then on the Pop Culture Universe, wherever those guys are, you'll find me.
And I'm one of those guys. You can find me, Colin, at _C Morris, wherever we're sold on the internet. And, of course, on Saturdays on the Ultimate Schmoedown after show on John Roca's YouTube channel. Fantastic show coming in this week. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. And we will see you next week for another episode of We Have the High Ground. Peace. Bye.